Hello, hello, and welcome to TJ Speaks. I am your host, TJ, and of course, I have another show on hand for you today. Tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the so called President Joe Biden. Listen, I'm going to begin here. As an ADOS, Foundational Black American, I have to say it because it needs to be said. 8 years of being a vice president, 4 years Biden was the president, equals 12 years of nothing for blacks. Absolute 47 years in the Congress, in the Senate, is zero results for black people. And it's our fault. It's not my fault, thank God. I've stopped voting for the Democrats since Obama because I specifically remembered President Obama allowing the businesses, the owners, to fire the workers and then rehire them for a lesser amount of pay. And as a result, my paycheck was cut from my job. The unions were all renegotiating contracts with the workers with less pay. And I thought that was absurd. So I'm just going to go, it's going to be a brief show tonight because everything that has everything that has been said already is the truth. Um, for 60 years, over 60 years, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, have been voting for this Democrat Party, and many of them was not educated. Many of them never took up a single history course, but they all tell you how somewhere along the line, the party of KKK and the party that wrote the Jim Crow laws was somehow switched somewhere in the middle of the night, but no one can tell you when. No one can tell you the specific date and time this so called party switched. And this year is 2023. And if anyone else is out there speaking so ignorantly, they actually, in my humble opinion, deserve to be broke. Because at some point in time, you have to get smart and you have to be real. You're sitting, many of us, sitting around, bills are overdue, money's not coming in. You're putting in job applications, you're not receiving the so called jobs that Governor Hochul is saying that's out there. She's claiming there's 400,000 jobs out there. No, there's not. No, it's not. That's a blatant lie. There are no jobs out there for the Americans. There's jobs for illegal, undocumented people because they work for less money. But if you were to go out today and get an average entry level job or try to, you are going to have about 4,000 people in New York City applying for a job at McDonald's. To this day, because someone close to me recently tried to get a job at an entry level, a very young person, and they were competing with grown-ups that were 40 years old, 50-year-old adults wanting to work at McDonald's. We have people that can't speak English. Many managers, owners, franchise owners don't want to hire American citizens. They like the undocumented workers because they can work all day for little bitty money, for less money. They're not going to complain about the wages. And on many of the times, they can get cheated out of wages. It works for the migrants because in their country, American dollars worth $100 in their country. But it's terrible for us. So a migrant will take a job for $2 because $2 to that migrant is $200 to them. So they are making 100 times the amount of money they would have been making in their country. So it's a win for the businesses. They get the cheap labor. They get the labor that's for $2, and it's good for the migrants who will accept the $2. an hour pay because that's 100 times more than what they were making at home. And you have entry-level jobs that have to pick people by random, by lottery for a job, working at McDonald's and White Castle and some of these retail stores. Are you serious? Have you not noticed some people are not leaving those minimum wage jobs as much? The turnover rate is very low now for the minimum wage employment. It's because there are no jobs out there. People are not getting hired like they say. People are not securing, definitely not securing a second job. And this has all happened under President Biden, who made matters worse. He's not looking out for you. You have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to think that Joe Biden is looking out for black people. And I cannot stand when black people like to blame um, both parties. Oh, both parties did this and both parties did that. But I have to say this to my black people, to my black family. Family, you do not vote for both parties. Blacks do not vote 50-50 for Republicans and 50-50 for Democrats. That does not happen. Overwhelmingly, the same person that's going to shout about both parties is a problem, number one, they don't probably vote. And number two, the people, if they do vote, they voted for the same party over and over again, and they're sitting there broke and trying to figure out where they're going wrong. Why isn't their circumstances changing? And they don't want to look at the man or the woman in the mirror. You keep hiring people that cannot stand you. Joe Biden is getting ready to make all the vehicles electric. And you know who's that's hurting? The UAW workers. The UAW workers will be out of a job. What kind of president will want to promote an industry that puts all of his workers out of business? What kind of president would do that? What kind of president will open the borders and allow all the people from around the world to impose themselves on the black community? And just say, okay, black people, you handle it. And ignore the homelessness that's in the cities, ignore the crime that's in the cities, ignore the poor schools. Children are having a hard time reading, and the American children, many of them black, have to share their school resources with migrants. What kind of president surrenders his borders? And the most ignorant thing people say is somehow people from South America or from some other country has a monopoly on the word immigrant. That word immigrant is absolutely meaningless because any one of us, even here in America, can be an immigrant at any point in time. If you're an American and you decide you want to move over to Japan, well, guess what? You're an immigrant then. Does that mean you get a right to, you know what? I'm not going to respect Japan's laws. I'm not going to respect Japan's, traditions. I'm not going to respect their borders. I'm just going to break in and I'm just going to take all the money and I'm going to lie about my name. You think being an immigrant gives you a license to do that? Only in America. Only in America, such absurdity is normal. Anyone could be an immigrant. So to say immigrant means a person that's moving from one place to another. That's all it means. If you don't have the monopoly in South America, there is not a monopoly in Japan or in Africa. Even Americans can be an immigrant if they choose to. That's just a process of people from moving from one place to another. That's all it means. Doesn't give you a license to break the law. Doesn't give you a license to beg. It doesn't give you a license to suck up all the resources. And it damn sure doesn't give the United States of America the license to disregard citizenship and to surrender their borders. So spare me with that word immigrant. It means absolutely nothing. And if you break federal law, yes, you did a crime. Yes, that's what it means. And it also means you're a very disrespectful person. And disrespect is big in my world. I do not tolerate disrespect, and I do not like disrespectful people. So that mumbo jumbo, oh, the only thing I did was break federal law. That doesn't fly with me. But anyway, and that's it for my people. Black people, you need to stop saying both sides until the day you vote for both sides. Because TJ is tired of hearing it, of you not wanting to acknowledge that you voted for the guy that stabs you in the back. You voted for the party that stabbed you in the back for 60 years. And now we have people like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and what's her name? Maxine Waters. These people are going to die very soon, within the next 10 years. They are going to be dead. And guess what? They're going to die without reparations. Because it's always that generation just accepted any old piece of trash. They just accepted how you just put them on the bottom and step on them, and they just ask you, please don't step on me too hard. But luckily, the newer generations that's coming up are not accepting that. And we are fighting for our reparations. That is our battleground. And we're not going to be like the ones that's going to die soon. That's never going to get reparations. Yes, they experienced Jim Crow, but they did not fight for their reparations. They allowed America to violate their civil rights for 100 years and walk off scot-free. And that is why the lady lost from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She lost her case because she was alive for 100 years and never sued the American government. Did not advocate for reparations. They told the white man that we don't need it. That generation said, we don't need no money. Are you crazy? Have you seen the poverty in the black community? Black people beg every single day. It's a point, it's really bad in New York City that I want to throw up when I see my own people begging every single day. And this government, New York City Mayor Adams, is giving the migrants $7,000 a month in welfare and food stamp benefits. If they gave that to my people, they would be very happy. And maybe they will stop beating each other up out of frustration. Because on the broke days, the days before the first of the month, everybody's hostile. And those of you that lived in the hood, you understand what I'm saying. So that's 7,000 a month. It's a game changer for a lot of descendants of American slaves and foundational black Americans. That'll mean everything. And this is happening right now, today in 2023. And no, we're not letting up on reparations. We want our money, and we deserve our money, and America has to pay. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I gotta go. Have a great evening. Good night.